Guys, my water just broke. It's 12:45 in the morning. I'm very nervous. My mom is getting all the bags in the car and my husband is upstairs doing I don't even know what. He was showering the last time I saw him, but we are on our way to the hospital and we are very excited. I'm gonna attempt to capture all of this or most of this experience for you guys, but I'm not the best vlogger, let me go ahead and admit that, but I'm gonna do the best I can to capture this, and we'll see how it looks in the end, and that depends on whether or not I put it out. But if you want to see how my labor and delivery goes, keep watching. Oh, I can't get my camera to focus. Okay. All right, y'all, so I'm all checked in. They just gave me some pain medication. I don't know the name, but it is the bomb. I'm feeling a little dizzy. I'm having contractions every 4 to 5 minutes right now. And it just feels like a dull ache, like a period cramp at the moment. Not anything too intense. But I ain't gonna lie, I am on the edge of my seat because I'm just like anticipating this severe pain. But I am having an epidural. We're not doing natural childbirth over here. I don't play them kind of games in my life. But so far so good. I'm here with my family and we just chilling. We just chilling and waiting. A resident came in, asked me a bunch of questions. They did do an ultrasound of the baby. Baby's heartbeat is normal, and now I'm just waiting for my doctor to come in and we're gonna discuss a game plan as far as labor and delivery. But they did tell me that I have to be at least about 4 centimeters before they will administer the epidural, and I have to have like a gallon of fluids because they said your heart rate tends to drop a little bit. Or sorry, your blood pressure spikes, so the fluid is supposed to kind of combat that. But I'm a little dizzy from the pain medication that's supposed to take the edge off in the meantime. So if I sound like a little bit dead, that's why. This pain medication got me feeling a little bit high, I can't even lie, but it's got me in a good comfortable place for now. So I'm gonna check back with y'all in a little bit. I don't see myself holding this camera for too much longer. I'm about to drop it. It's 5:15 in the morning. My contractions are coming quicker now. They're about a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10. They're gonna come back and check me at 6 to see how dilated I am. Hopefully I'm at a 3 or 4 centimeter. Hopefully I'm at 4 centimeters so that they can administer my epidural. But the baby is doing good. That's the heartbeat that you hear. And I'm okay. Oh, I got really nauseous from the pain medication, so I vomited right before we started filming this portion, but I'm making it through. I'm just trying to breathe through the contractions, but they are pretty uncomfortable at this point. I'm watching Martin, or I'm attempting to watch Martin, and it just so happened to be the episode where Gina thinks that she might be pregnant. So how ironic is that? I know I look like so dead. I kind of feel that way at this point, but once I get my epidural, I think I'm gonna take a nap because I'm really tired, extremely tired. Yeah, we don't know what we're having, so that's gonna be a nice surprise at the end. But yeah, there's definitely a light at the end of the tunnel. So it's 5:15. I got about 45 minutes before they come and check me again. So I'm just trying to with it till my nurse comes back. Alright, so we're back. As you can see, my eyes are a little brighter than the last portion of this video because I have had my epidural, and I'm so thankful to God that I had it. I'm still just 2 centimeters dilated. They inserted a catheter. They drew some more blood, checked my blood pressure. My blood pressure was elevated because of the pain I was experiencing. Because now that I've had the epidural, my blood pressure is back to normal again. But yeah, now that I'm out of pain and I've got some comfort, I think I'm gonna take a little nap because I'm really tired. I didn't go to sleep last night at all. Like, I probably dozed off for like, how long? Like 30 minutes before I went to the bathroom. Yeah, I dozed off for like 30 minutes, went to the bathroom at 12:15-ish, and my water broke. So I really haven't gotten any sleep tonight. So I'm gonna take a little nap, and I'll update you guys when we're to the next step. Hey y'all, so as you can tell from the intro and the title of this video, this is going to be all about my labor and delivery. And I know I'm smiling right now, but yeah, there wasn't really a whole lot of warm and fuzzy when it came to my labor and delivery, but I am here to tell you guys all about it. So before we go any further, if you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you like what you see here, and also click the notification bell next to it so you can be notified the next time I upload a video. If you're already a part of the fam, let me tell you what happened to me. Like, I almost died. And I'm saying that like literally. Like, I know I'm kind of making light of the situation in the title, but no, it was really that close, and I just shudder to think I could actually not be sitting here talking to you right now. So that's why I really felt the urge and motivation to sit down and tell my story. I'm just trying. I've been looking like boo-boo up until this point, but listen, baby, I'm trying to film.
I just want to see the baby. Hey, girl.
Your daddy is annoying. So, as I was saying, basically, I'm going to take you all the way back to the Friday before I actually gave birth. I was due on Christmas Day. So my last visit with my doctor was on Friday, December the 20th. So when I went in, everything was normal. All my vitals were where they should be. I wasn't having any complications as far as my pregnancy. My pregnancy was super smooth. Like, I barely had any morning sickness. It was maybe like 2.5 weeks of very, very mild nausea, and then after that it was like smooth sailing from then on. I mean, I did have some what they call like round ligament pain, but it was like very intermittent, kind of like, you know, here and gone. It didn't last a long time at all. Easy. Sorry, my baby's right here and she keeps slipping down. You keep slipping down. I went in for my last prenatal visit and everything was good as far as my vitals, but I was not dilated at all. So I'm already thinking in my head, of course I'm not dilated. So I'm probably looking at being induced more than likely, but my fingers are crossed that that's not gonna happen, because people that I know who got induced, I just know from other people's experiences, that's like an all-day extravaganza, guaranteed, sometimes even 2 days, multiple days. So I was like, I don't want to go down that road. Like, hopefully, you know, my water will break naturally. You know, my doctor was like, no reason to worry. Like, you know, what we'll do is you just let us know, you know, if you go beyond your due date, you contact us, because we need to set up a time to induce. But we're gonna let you go all the way through your due date, possibly even 2 days after your due date, because, you know, we want to give nature a chance to do its thing. So I go home,
I'm feeling great. You know, it's the holidays, it's approaching Christmas time. Like, I'm pretty much gonna be spending my Christmas on the couch with my family, like close family, like my husband, my mom, you know, family that lives in close proximity to us. Just kind of, you know, waiting for time to tick down and for my baby to get here. So my mom was like, well, I'm not gonna rush to get there since, you know, you're not dilated, and I'll just see you like Monday. Christmas was on a Wednesday last year. So anyway, my mom gets here on Monday, and you know, we're just, again, just doing the countdown. Like, is my water gonna break? Is it not gonna break? Am I gonna have to be induced? Like, either way, we're super pumped because this is my first baby. This is my husband's first baby. So my mom's first grandchild. So we're super excited. And even my mother-in-law, she lives close. My husband's parents live about 30 to 45 minutes from us. So everybody who is around us is just really happily anticipating the baby. So now let's speed up to the day after Christmas. So it's the day after Christmas and no baby yet. So I followed my doctor's instructions, and I went ahead and I called them, and I pretty much said, you know, it's the 26th, my water hasn't broken. Now, I didn't mention this, but when I had the conversation with my doctor's office at my last prenatal visit, they told me that it was a possibility that I would be induced on the 27th or the 30th, but I was hoping for the 27th. So I called them immediately on the 26th, hoping that they would just schedule me to come in on the 27th and be induced. Well, that wasn't the case. When I talked to my doctor's office, they were pretty much like, yeah, so because you're not high risk for anything, like you've had a smooth pregnancy, we're not worried about, you know, anything happening to you or your baby, we're gonna pretty much have to give you the later date, which is the 30th. And I was just kind of like bummed because, you know, my mom's time with us was limited. She was scheduled to stay with us for 2 weeks. And, you know, she wanted to get every bit of that time with the baby. If you're not already in labor, or you're not like a high risk pregnancy, I don't want to say you fall on the back burner. That sounds bad. You pretty much have to take what's available as far as being induced, like scheduling an induction. And there are kind of like a tier of people like ahead of you. Does that make sense? Like it's kind of like the 30th was as early as they had for low risk healthy moms. I took what they had on the 30th, and I was scheduled to come in on the 27th, which was the following day, to do my paperwork. So I had some paperwork I had to do prior to checking into the hospital, and then my doctor wanted to check me one more time before I was induced. I was feeling heavy, but still, you know, for the most part, good, energetic, you know, moderately energetic. So, you know, me and my mom, we kind of went out to some shops and thought, you know, let's do a little after Christmas shopping, and then we can, you know, hopefully do enough walking that we can kind of walk the baby down a little bit. And when we got back home, we had made some dinner, and then we just kind of chilled out on the couch, and, you know, was just gonna go to my appointment the next day and kind of see what was up. We all just kind of went to bed. I probably was like dozing in and out of sleep. Maybe we were talking, I can't remember, but we eventually went to sleep, and I woke up around 12 midnight to go to the bathroom. So when I wake up, I go to the bathroom and I sit down on the toilet, and I hear something like plop in the toilet. Like I know I heard like something drop, like kind of as if you were to drop a coin or something in the toilet. Like it was just kind of like bloop. And I looked down, and I was kind of like, you know, what was that? Now I had already used the bathroom, wiped everything, so it was my mucus plug, but it kind of slipped under the tissue. Like I felt like I saw a trail of like mucus like in the toilet. I feel like I did, but I mean, that's gross. I wasn't gonna like fish around in there to see like, oh, is that my mucus plug that came out in the toilet? I was like, Devin, I think my water broke. And, you know, he gets up and he's like, what? Like, and I was like, I think my water broke. And, you know, so I get off the toilet, you know, pull my underwear up, and he was like, are you sure? And as I'm walking, like, it was just like a splat, like just a splat of water just gushed out of my vagina. And I was like, yeah, like I'm pretty positive my water just broke. So anyway, so there's like water on the floor, water on me. I am super excited. He goes next door, knocks on the guest room door, wakes up my mom, and he's like, okay, Whit's water broke, it's time to go. I showered the night before, so that whole week I was showering like late night, like around midnight or after midnight, just in case my water was to break, and I would be nice and fresh going to the hospital. So all I would have to do was like change my clothes. Well, my mom kind of assured us it was okay for him to take a shower because, you know, it's not always like that rush like what you see on TV. And again, my water broke, but I wasn't feeling any pain. I mean, I had been having Braxton Hicks contractions like off and on from my second trimester moving forward, but it wasn't painful. It was just like a tight, like kind of pressure for a few minutes or a few seconds, and then it would subside. So my mom's like, yeah, go ahead and take a shower. You know, Whit, you relax, you know, change your clothes, obviously change your underwear. You know, she gave me a towel to like put between my legs, and she was like, we're gonna, you know, get you gathered up here in just a few minutes and we're gonna go to the hospital. We all get ready, we all pile up in the car, and we head to the hospital. So Devin drops me and my mom off up front, and he goes and parks the car. We go inside, you know, we get all registered and checked in, and then, you know, shortly after that, Devin is coming around the corner with the bags. Oh, and for those of you who don't know me personally, Devin is my husband. So we get into the labor and delivery ward. The nurse, she just wanted to make sure that my water had broke, and it had. And so once she confirmed that, she took me to my room where I would be giving birth. She had me go in the bathroom and take all my clothes off and put a gown on, and then she told me just to get into bed. She said she would go back out front. Oh, she didn't grab my mom and my husband at the time. They had to wait on me on the other side, and then she said that she would go grab them and bring them in just for me to get settled in the bed. My family would be in and my nurse would be in shortly. And my main concern, my main question has been this whole pregnancy, when can I get my epidural? I have a very low threshold for pain, so I was very adamant about having an epidural. I mean, nobody was against me having an epidural, but I know, you know, a lot of moms do try to go the natural route. I knew that in order for me to get my baby here into this world safely, I needed to be sane. I needed to be able to make it through labor and delivery, and I just don't feel like, knowing myself, I just don't feel like I could do it without an epidural. So I did my research, and I made a very sound and educated choice to have an epidural. So I asked the nurse, like, when does the epidural happen, just so I could wrap my mind around what I would be enduring, basically. I mean, I knew there was going to be some level of pain. Like, you're not going to go through labor without having any pain. I mean, maybe some people do, but that's not what I expected. I was definitely realistic with myself in that regard, but I was just kind of like, okay, how much pain or how long should I expect pain? She told me that they don't like to do the epidural until you're at least 4 centimeters. So they like for you to be 4 centimeters along before they administer the epidural. Now, I said that twice for a reason, because I want y'all to hang on to those words, okay? By this time, it's me, my mom, my husband Devin, and my cousin Aaron. So we're just in the room chilling. I'm not experiencing any pain yet. They've got me all hooked up. My IV is in. They have me belted with the heart monitor and everything, so they can, you know, stay very much in tune with the baby's vitals during this time. And we're kind of chilling, and I'm like on the edge of the seat, like waiting for my pain to start, right? So the nurse comes back in and she reiterates that she can give me a pain med to take the edge off. So I started thinking about it, and I was like, I'm just trying to cheat the system here. Like, I'm just trying to be in as little pain as possible. So I was like, I think I'll take you up on that pain medication, okay? So she brings it in. I don't remember what it was, but it could have had codeine in it, and codeine makes me extremely nauseous. So she gives me the pain med, and I immediately start, as you can see, feeling like high as a kite. And then shortly after that, like, it's just like a downhill, like nausea, like extreme nausea, all the way leading up to me vomiting. The doctor that was on call from my office, she popped in just to let me know that she was there. And I gave birth at a learning hospital. I'm not gonna say what hospital I gave birth at because I just don't have a desire to expose them. There are a lot of residents and people that are in school and in training that deal with patients. So I'm not against that because I work in a clinical setting and I know what it's like to be training in that aspect. So I'm kind of sympathetic to the fact that you kind of gotta learn. But I just felt safe that they would be, you know, very heavily supervised, like closely monitored throughout this whole process. So I didn't really have a problem with this being like, you know, a university that I was giving birth at. The resident physician that was on call at that time came in. He asked me some questions. We discussed the, you know, risk involved with giving birth. He might have had me sign some paperwork just acknowledging the risk involved. I can't remember. And also the risk involved with having the epidural. So then he leaves and the nurse comes back in. And she's talking to me and telling me pretty much what to expect every step of the way, like moving forward, as long as everything is going smooth. After that interaction with the nurse, the last thing I remember was the anesthesiologist coming in. He tells me that you can have an epidural anywhere between 2 and 8 centimeters. 2 seems very early to me. Even someone who's never had a kid, 2 centimeters seems extremely early. But I mean, I'm like, that's what these people do for a living. So if he's saying I can have it at 2 centimeters, I mean, he's got to know what he's talking about, right? They do insert a catheter and there's a little button that they give you that you can push. So if you feel like your epidural is wearing off at some point, you can basically get a re-up of the epidural through the catheter. And as someone who was so fearful of labor pain, I'm pretty much going to take the epidural as early as you can give it. He goes ahead and he gets ready to administer it because the nurse tells me that I'm 2 centimeters. He administers the epidural and I mean, it was cool. It didn't feel like excruciating pain. I mean, you do feel a pinch, but for the most part, the epidural part was easy. I've heard horror stories about that too, where it's like this like jolt of excruciating pain. It wasn't none of that for me. It was very quick and smooth. The nausea was still kind of lingering. I just decided like I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take a nap. When I wake up, I'll be good and numb, and me and my family just gonna chill right here, as you know, until I dilate and it's time for me to push. When I woke back up, my back was killing me so bad. It was like my legs and my waist, from my waist down, felt numb, but I felt the most agonizing back pain. Like I have never felt back pain like that before. I mean, it was like, it was a severe ache, and it was probably from like my lower, like the bottom of my rib cage all the way down to my waist to the numb part. My back is hurting me so bad, but my legs feel numb. So I kind of told the nurses, because they were kind of in and out, I told the nurses like, hey, you know, I'm good, but like my back is really hurting me. So they were like, oh, okay, you know, we'll give you a pillow and we'll try to adjust your bed. And you know, it was like to adjust the bed and to try to fix it was only making it worse. So I was just like, what the hell is going on? Like, did the epidural not work? But no, it had to work because like my waist, like my legs and shit feel numb as hell. Aside from that, the nurses seem to be concerned because at this point, my blood pressure is elevated. They were basically flipping me. So if I was laying on my left side, they would flip me to my right side. I don't know why they turn you from side to side. If you know what that does for, you know, elevated blood pressure during labor and delivery, put it in the comments down below because I would love to know. What was happening was my blood pressure was going up, but my baby's heart rate was going down. So that's obviously concerning. And you know, this was like 5 hours into labor, 5 or 6 hours in. So the nurses are checking me. They're saying that, you know, I'm still 2 centimeters, 3-ish dilated. The doctor was a resident that was working alongside them, or that was kind of supervising the nurses at the time. It was a doctor, but she was a resident. She was coming in and she was also checking me, confirming everything that the nurses were saying. 15 hours go by me and I don't even realize it. Now, I did feel some contractions like prior to having the epidural. They were manageable, like I was breathing through them. And then after the epidural, even the back pain was, like I said, killing me so freaking bad. I was even starting to have a little bit of pain off and on across my belly, which had me scared because I was thinking this epidural didn't work, or the catheter is in the wrong place, or something is happening, because I was pressing the little button to get re-ups because that's how bad my back was hurting. And I was just desperate for relief. So I'm like pressing this button like every 20-30 minutes. Every time they come in to check me or flip me, because my blood pressure is still high, I'm like pressing this button because all I can focus on is my back pain. That's it. So I'm kind of like in delirium at this point. The nurses are talking to me. The residents are talking to me. They are talking over my family. So my husband didn't get addressed. My mom didn't get addressed. They're having to like interject and ask questions like, what is going on? How long are y'all gonna let this go on? These are the kind of questions that my mom is asking, which was an indicator to me of how much time had actually gone by. Because again, I was in and out of sleep just trying to take my mind off of this back pain. The doctor comes in. This is still the resident doctor. She comes in and she's like, yeah, so typically in situations like this, we have to send you to have a C-section, because if we can't normalize your blood pressure and your baby's heart rate is, you know, still at a low level or getting lower, you know, we can get in a danger zone. Also, what I failed to mention is there is blood, visible blood, in my catheter. There is also blood on the pad underneath me, indicating that there is blood coming from my vagina. So this is what is happening over that whole course of time. My family is extremely flustered. Like, my mom is beside herself. My husband is beside himself. I don't know this at the time. I mean, they're trying to keep a calm face for me because they don't want me to get any more upset than I already am, because I'm pretty uncomfortable just from the back pain. But I guess they didn't want to, you know, invoke any fear. So they just are kind of playing it cool, but they're like losing it on the inside. And this is what I find out after talking to them after the fact. Eventually, my doctor comes in, and this is my doctor, one of my doctors from the practice that I had my prenatal care with. So she's the head doctor over this whole operation at this point. She comes in, and you know, the nurses had been checking me all this time. They had told me that I had dilated to 6 centimeters. When my doctor come in, y'all, she goes off. She's like, first of all, why haven't y'all come to get me like before now? Her blood pressure is at a dangerous level. Her baby's heart rate is at a dangerous level. She has blood in her catheter bag. And you know, she's not even trying to sugarcoat it or hide that she's pissed. She's like, y'all should have been come and got me. What is going on? Y'all know better than this. And then she checks my cervix. Y'all, 15 hours later, I am barely 2 centimeters dilated. And she's like, and what is this y'all talking about? She's 6 centimeters. She's barely a 2. Barely a 2. With each, you know, passing, you know, every few hours they're telling me, oh, you're 3 centimeters. Oh, now you're at a 4. And then finally we make it all the way up to a 6. And then my doctor comes in and tells me that I'm barely a 2. So then she explains to me that under the circumstances, she's gonna have to send me to have an emergency C-section. I had what's called an abruption. Let me pull that up on my phone because I want to tell you guys exactly what an abruption is. A placental abruption is a serious pregnancy complication in which the placenta detaches from the womb or the uterus. This can decrease or block the baby's supply of oxygen and nutrients and cause heavy bleeding in the mother. 15% of severe placental abruption cases end in fetal death. Left untreated, it endangers both the mother and the baby and can result in the death of one or both. That C-section was welcomed. Like, I was so ready to just be done with this. Like, I wanted my baby to be out and safe, and for me to be out of back pain, and just to be able to just sit up and just wake up from this horrible dream. The C-section atmosphere was like night and day. Like, the team that was there for the C-section, they all seemed to be on the same page. They didn't seem to be scrambling or unsure. They had a cool little playlist going. I think when they rolled me in, 21 Savage was like playing in the background. So I instantly felt like, okay, this is where I should have been, like, all along. Like, this is my vibe. They're getting my husband dressed down in his scrubs and stuff before they let him come in, and they're prepping me for the C-section because they want you to be numb, like from under your breast almost down. So they're using this like little sharp poker to poke and ask me, you know, are you feeling this? They let me feel it on my shoulder so I know what the poke feels like, and then they're slowly placing it in the areas that they want to be numb to see if I'm actually numb in those areas. So I got numb on the left side fairly quickly. The right side was a struggle. So it was like they kept administering more through the catheter and I was still feeling the little pokes. We were like, I don't know, like I want to say like 5 or 6 you know, rounds in. Maybe it wasn't, but it felt like it. But we were like several rounds in and I was still feeling like the little pokes where I shouldn't have been feeling anything. So they're looking at each other like, what the crap, like, was going on upstairs? They eventually get me numb enough to start the C-section. They had my baby out within like 15-20 minutes, and then the other hour and a half they were just there sewing me back together. But when I heard my baby crying and they held her up over the curtain so I could see her, like, my husband got the most beautiful picture of her fresh out of the womb. Like, she was like screaming at the top of her lungs, but she looked so cute and so much like my husband. And just, I just remember seeing her face and just feeling this instant like euphoric type of feeling. Like, I was just so in love just at first sight. Like, I seriously mean that. Like, when I heard her cry, it was like, oh my gosh, it was like almost like reality set in that there truly was a baby in my stomach. We were surprised with the gender. We did not find out the gender the entire pregnancy. He announced the sex to me by telling me the name that we had chosen for a girl, which is Devin Olivia. And so yeah, it was just, it was a great moment in the midst of a lot of chaos. Having this baby really put me through some things and showed me a lot about myself as far as my strengths are concerned. It put my body through so much. It's been probably like 2 or 3 weeks, you know, of a full-blown recovery, like where I've just felt like really good, really back to myself, a lot of energy. I mean, aside from sleep deprivation, I mean, I'm good. We're good. And I'm so thankful for my husband and my mom for being there with me during my labor and delivery process. I just don't know what could have happened, and I shudder to think about what could have happened had they not been there. Like, I really feel for moms who have to go through this alone or go through this without having an advocate. Like, having an advocate is so important, and I can't stress that enough. When you go into the hospital to give birth to a baby, you need to call a spouse. If you're doing this on your own, you need to have a parent, a cousin, a co-worker. I mean, someone needs to be there with you. A lot of people use doulas now, which seems, I mean, I had never heard of a doula. A really close friend of mine is the first person that I heard about doulas from. But yeah, doulas are available and there to help coach you through your labor and delivery, and they're also there to advocate for you, because it is so important. Because oftentimes women, especially Black women, we're just numbers in this game, and there's no telling like what could happen to you if you'll even make it out on the other side. And again, this is not to throw off on, you know, medical personnel that really love their careers and take their careers very seriously, but for people who are in this profession or in that profession that don't, you kind of need protection from them. You need someone there for you that has your best interest, that is watching everything that is going on and making sure that the staff is doing everything they can to bring you safely through this. That's the end of my story. I know this video is going to be long as hell, and I am so sorry for that. But if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for listening to my story. I could not wait to share it because I felt like expecting mothers could appreciate this story, could take something from this story, prepare things differently if you need to going into your labor and delivery. And this story is not to discourage or scare anyone. It is a beautiful thing to bring a child into the world, and I am so thankful to God that I was able to experience it and do it myself. I again have shown myself things in this process. I never knew I had this strength, and I never knew in a million years that I could do this. And even in being a mother for the past 6 weeks, this is something that I didn't even realize that I could do. I didn't know that I could just jump right in and my instincts would just kick in like that, and that I would be this acclimated this soon. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe. I will be incorporating more motherhood into my channel. And if you're already a part of the Lauren Whitney family, thank you so much for coming back. Thank you for listening to my story, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.